Hello, coaches. Today, I want to go through a process with you known as collapsing anchors. Remember in your NLP practitioner classroom where you were ching the knuckles to be able to create a different emotional state or behavior? Well, the collapsing anchors is much the same. So instead of building up to really good, exciting sense of motivation, today we're going to look at collapsing things like procrastination and boredom so that then you feel that sense of motivation. So let's get started with what are anchors, what's the collapsing anchors process, and therefore what you can do with this with your clients. So, as we know, anchors are a stimulus which triggers a specific physiological or emotional state of behavior. So, they're the conditioning at the unconscious level. And truth be told, that we are exposed to these triggers every single day, multiple times a day. When you see these images, the picture of Coke, the picture of the pyramids, coffee, the police, there's going to be a specific psychological or emotional shift in you. Like, that means yes, that means no, I want more of that, I want less of that. There's a trigger and an anchor that's already been created within you at the unconscious level for you to automatically respond to the thing that they've conditioned you to experience. And we see that in marketing each and every single day, like the Coca-Cola brand trying to anchor in refreshment and connection and friendship and excitement for life to their brand, to their product. And yet it's just a sugary liquid. And yet there's all of these anchors associated to it to drink Coke and feel good. Simple enough, right? Well, we can create these resources and the resourcefulness within you utilizing anchors. We can also use anchors to undo limiting triggers that are sitting there as well. So, if you want to get better performance of yourself, you need to have positive anchors in place so that you can trigger that really good optimum state for you to get the best out of that situation. And again, you are exposed to anchors every single day. You may hear some music being played, and then it's like, oh my gosh, that takes me back to my high school days, or or that time where I had an amazing holiday. There's a particular song that my husband and I played when we drove up the side of a volcano in Hawaii. Every single time that song plays, I'm like back there. The air was a lot thinner, the light up there was very different, and there was this adventure between me and my husband, and it was like, oh, what a brilliant anchor. So sometimes we'll play that when we're on our Sunday mornings onto a different kind of adventure, different coffee. Uh, so we're exposed to anchors every single day. We see this in the spiritual world when people have their anchors of their crystals. They may wear that and like know that that's the anchor for love and resonance. Performance people, the athletes will use their shoes or their lucky underwear, stepping into those shoes, and I feel amazing. This is an anchor that they've created for themselves to get the best out of the being on the field. And other people will use anchors as like anchoring in success and money to the front door handle of their office. It's like every time that I go to touch this door handle, money and success come to me. So we can definitely use something that's already naturally happening within our minds to get the outcome that we want. So quick check in here. When you saw the stop sign, what's anchored? And when you saw the green light, did that say to go faster, or did that just say it's your opportunity to go? But these are also anchors, and in fact, they're known as universal anchors because most of the population have already assigned a meaning to the color and to the shape and the symbol of what they mean. Now, seeing Nana's cookies, or the typical version. My Nana was the cuddly baker, so I'm going to use this as the anchor and the example here. Nana's cooking her sponge cakes or her Anzac biscuits or her lamingtons, like walking into Nana's kitchen, and it just felt like being at home, and that sense of comfort and just like the cuddly feeling that you get with it. Well, the real estate industry know this about how anchors work. And so often they will put, the cookie dough in the oven to get the house smelling like home, or having that coffee roasting again to get the house connected to a feeling that you've already got hardwired, so that there's this already an automatic state that they're generating in you. So they're linking their product, linking the house to memories that you've already got. And it's sort of like, oh. So, of course, if you walk into a property and it naturally feels like home, how much more money are you going to throw at the opportunity to just be back in that memory that already felt good? Now, I'm bringing this up because it gives you a better understanding of how you are being influenced deliberately by the marketing industry. And so instead of being at effect to all of this noise that we're exposed to, you can start to become more aware of those impulse purchases and what are the connections in marketing that they're trying to get you to buy. So now hopefully you're more at cause in recognizing what's going on with your buying strategy. So anchors can be triggered in all rep systems, the AD, what are you saying to yourself, the auditory, the music that you hear, the the visual, what you're seeing, the kinesthetic, what you're feeling, the taste and the smelling, the gustatory and olfactory. Today, what we're going to use to collapse anchors is we're going to use the kinesthetic, the knuckles, so that we can create a specific stimulus. So we see Tony Robbins and a lot of very successful influencers using anchors to get into the state. You hear them pumping the music, you see them clapping the hand or clapping the fist. It's like, right, I'm in optimum state, I'm ready to go. And in fact, when I was doing mediumship on stage, I had my lucky shoes and I would have a way of getting on platform, and I would have a particular little step. Nobody would see it, but it was like bang, bang, boom, I'm in, I'm ready, spirit. Like, let's go, let's get this happening. And so in that moment, I didn't have to use willpower or go through a whole list of strategies or meditation to get in the zone. Boom, boom, I'm in. And it's much the same for trainer's state. Instead of using a whole lot of willpower, we use anchors so that, like, when we are teaching, we are all in. In NLP, just to bring you back to how you can bring anchors to your clients, anchoring refers to that process of associating an internal response with an external trigger or an internal trigger, so that the response can be very quickly activated and re-accessed. So like I was saying with Nana's cookies, smelling that cookies, and then that's like coming into your sensory experience, and now it's sort of like now I'm presenting myself as if I'm more comfortable and at home. So put simply, we create an anchor so that you can sorry, we create an anchor so that when you are feeling less resourceful, you can very quickly put yourself into an effective state. See a couple of typos there, but I'm all good with that. So when you are anchoring somebody, you need to be able to get them to step into the state that they want more of. Can you think of a time, a specific time when you were totally motivated? And as you go back to a time when you were totally motivated, step into your body to see what you saw, hear what you heard, say the things that you said to yourself, and feel the way that you felt in that moment when you were totally motivated. And now the client is completely associated into the way that their neural network works for being motivated. And of course, this is when we are going to touch somebody's knuckle, a specific place on their hand, or sorry, a specific place that they've already assigned to it. It could be the lucky crystal or picking up your phone or a lucky pen. But this is where you get into that peak state, and then you just pour all of that energy into that knuckle or crystal or pen. So as the coach, you need to be real, have your sensory acuity dialed up to recognize when they've gone just into that peak state and hold that anchor for 5 to 15 odd seconds. As soon as you see the change in their physiology, then again, as I've already said, touching that knuckle. Look, use your sensory acuity, look for the skin changes, the lip size changing, the pupils, the posture, the color in their skin. These are all the things that really give you the confirmation that they have associated into the state that they want. Now, if you anchor too much past that, you get them motivated and they're feeling it, and then their awareness is coming back to the room. If you anchor it then, that's going to be less effective. And if you're an acronym person, the steps to anchoring is to recall a past vivid experience. So think of the time in the past when you were totally motivated. anchor Anchor to provide a specific stimulus. So is it the knuckle, the earlobe? I've done the glabella, I've done the chin, I've done the heart space. Provide a specific stimulus, change the person's state. Notice how that when they touch that anchoring point, that they come back to that feeling of motivation or whatever it is that they wanted. So, as I said at the beginning, we're going to look at collapsing anchors. So we're going to collapse a negative emotional state and integrate a positive state. First, you need to get in rapport with your client and you need to get them to check in which knuckle would you like to use today. I'm going to use knuckles as the training example. Now, if you're in person, you need to get permission. Is it okay with me to touch you on your hand and for you to be okay with it? Is it okay for me to touch you on your hand? About to go down a different script then. And yes, this works online. I'm one of the first in Australia to be allowed to teach NLP over online. And so then I've had to go through all of my scripts and all of my training to be able to be adapted to online NLP. And it's fabulous how the upgrades come in. But I digress. So if you're doing this process online, then you need to just pull in that embedded command. So as we go through this process and the time is right, I will just ask you to touch your knuckle. Is that okay? And so if you think about getting somebody associated into that motivated state, they're in it. So they're not logically aware of touching their knuckle, they're in their own sensory experience. So if you're watching them on Zoom, okay, you're noticing that they're having that sensory experience, okay, just touch your knuckle. And when I've done this with NLP students who are already familiar with this process, sorry, I should say NLP clients who are familiar with this process, they're already, like unconsciously, they're already anchoring. Yes, I want more of this, which is an important thing when we get into masters. Determine the positive, resourceful state that they want. I'm going to use motivated and identify the negative state that they want to collapse. So again, I'm going to use procrastination. And it's simple. Can you remember a time when you felt totally powerful, totally motivated, getting into that particular state, shoulders back, head held high, and think of another time when you felt totally powerful and totally motivated to now step into your body, to see what you saw, hear what you heard, and touching that knuckle as you say the things that you said to yourself when you felt totally motivated and powerful. As the coach, build up the feelings, make sure that you get into it as well with your voice, your physiology, getting them to build it up more and more as you touch that knuckle, double that power, breathe it in, noticing what you say to yourself, and then just lift the finger. There's my picture, my symbol for totally powerful. And we're going to do it again. We're going to build up like stacking anchors. Can you think of a time when you felt totally loved? Now step into your body to see what you saw, touching that knuckle, hear what you heard, and say the things that you said to yourself when you felt totally loved. That specific time when you felt adored, loved, completely special, breathing that in, and then fingers off the knuckle. Same knuckle, by the way. This is all the same knuckle. It's my Morris and Daisy. And so, yeah, like, I'm like, oh my gosh, my babies, I'm feeling totally loved. Aren't they beautiful? Now, again, I think we go through this two or three, sorry, 3 or 4 times. Can you think of a time when you felt totally energized, that spiritual orgasmic sugar high feeling? Step into your body, touch that knuckle, see what you saw, hear what you heard, and say what you said to yourself. When you feel into that sense of that, yes, connecting with spirit, creative energy, channeling it in, touching that knuckle, I want more of this, and then lifting your finger. And there we go. There's my interpretation, that picture there, like that, just like spirit, I am here to serve and to play and to just explore what energy can do. Okay, we've done that 3 times now, and we've done that 3 times now where we have really built up, and you can feel it if you touch that knuckle. It's sort of like, oh, motivated, powerful, loved all at once. Like the neural network is like, yep, we're completely activated right now. So that anchor is now created in that knuckle. Now need to get the client to break state. And we remember, can you smell popcorn? What's your postcode backwards? What's your phone number backwards? Tell me the alphabet backwards. What's for dinner? You know, whatever you can do to help that client shift from being associated into the past, now logically into this now moment. Okay. And now what we're going to do is we are going to get them to remember a time when they felt flat, bored, uninterested. It's not my favorite part of anchoring at all. Now, keeping in mind that where previously we used one particular knuckle, now we're going to the next one just next to it so that we got 2 different anchors created. Can you think of a time in the past when you felt flat, bored, and uninterested? Ugh, and step into your body to, I don't know, see what you saw, hear what you heard, say the things that you said to yourself as you touch that other knuckle of just like, procrastination, stuckness, touching that knuckle. And as the coach, you can create that state, not too long, don't go into procrastination too much, but you can definitely help them get in touch with that feeling. So let yourself feel the nothingness of the boredom, completely uninterested, touching that knuckle, touching that knuckle. Okay, and then release. There's a picture of boredom for me. Okay, so both of those anchors have now been created. The positive resourceful anchor into one knuckle and the procrastination into the other one. What you need to do now is to, like playing the piano, being a little bit cryptic with your fingers or getting the client to do this, is first you want to fire off the resourceful anchor for a couple of seconds and it's like, oh, feeling really powerful, feeling really motivated. And then you want to, at the same time, touch the next knuckle. Now, the neural pathways are like, hold on, we were procrastinating and bored and motivated, but now we feel powerful. It's sort of like, hold on, what? And then what you want to do is to lift up the negative anchor so that we come back to being positive. And what this will do is it will scramble the neural network so that it's sort of like has trouble accessing that procrastination. And in fact, you should have that sense of motivation now towards the towards the thing you want to get done. So testing that, we now just touch that positive anchor and sort of like, oh wow, yeah, okay, let's make things happen. And it's simple as that, right? It's sort of like, wow, anytime that you want to get motivated, touching that anchor, whatever you've anchored to, like, yeah, this is now the stimulus response. And with the client, you want to just break state. Again, think of your phone number backwards And then you want to test and just holding on to that positive anchor and just noticing, like, oh, yeah, wow, there's a sense of motivation to get things done. Now, sharing with you a private story of mine, people know that I had a toxic past where the ex used to sit on a particular part of the couch and be quite intimidating, just like this ground sort of like authoritative, like it was just yuck. And so in that couch where he sat, so anyway, was completely anchored to negativity. It was just like, oh, just awful. And very early on, after the police removed him, my friend John came over, and I was still in a state of panic and just awful, awful. Just the nervous system was a wreck at that time. And so he came over, pizza nights with the kids and everything. And he went to sit in that spot on the couch. Like, oh, whoa, no, no, don't sit there. That's got bad juju. Don't sit in that part of the couch. And John knew NLP. So he very intelligently tested me. We had rapport. And like he just sat back on that couch. He's like, how are you feeling, Claire? And my whole like I had the hair stick up on the back of my neck, this whole cold chills feeling. And he just sat there and he sat there and he sat there. And then eventually it was like, oh, I'm safe. I'm okay. It was like, oh, wow. And what John did for me in that moment was he gave me a sense of peace and safety in my home, where previously there were all of these negative anchors and the PTSD threats. And it was sort of like, oh, wow. So not only did that couch then become quite neutral, um, I decided that I was going to throw that couch out and just buy a whole new with new memories instead of always having to just be neutral about it. It was like bring something in that I'm motivated and excited to play with. So the hard rubbish guys, when the couch went into the back of their truck, and they're like, party time. They must have thought I was an absolute wacko. I embrace being weird. So the collapsing anchors piece is very, very important to me because I have tried and tested this process in a multitude of different ways, not just the anchors, not just the knuckles, but helping clients resolve trauma from the past and claim back their space, claim back their territory. They are so used to restricting their energy in that when you get a client to be able to take up as much space as they want, it's absolutely liberating. Now, that's my own personal story with that. I want to take you back very, very quickly to expanded awareness. Remember learning expanded awareness in class in practitioner? This was when you focus on, it was learning state or expanded awareness. You used to focus on a dot just above trainer and pouring all of your attention into that dot and then pouring all of your attention outside of you so that you had the expanded awareness. So pouring attention into everything else that is not the dot. And what this does is it signals to the brain that we're no longer focused in, narrowed in on restrictive detail. We are now relaxing the brain. We're both accessing both hemispheres and we're now just in flow state. Now, another really quick tip with collapsing anchors, if you're somebody who's got autism or ADHD and you find yourself in a loud restaurant and it's sort of like, oh my gosh, there's all of these negative anchors, I can't maintain my state. This process is for you. I mean, you can use it for anybody. Anybody can use this process if you're feeling overwhelmed. But I want you to notice that if you actually apply expanded awareness right now, focusing on that dot or that mark on the wall, and then focusing on everything else that is not the dot, wiggling the fingers so you really can see outside into that peripheral vision. I want you to try to think of a bad feeling and notice in this now moment when you've got expanded awareness, you cannot access negative feelings. You can't actually access the overstimulated or the overwhelm. If you can, doing it wrong because the brain can't actually hold on to a negative state when you've gone into peripheral vision. So this is a tool that you can use in every moment to bring yourself back into that state of just being calm. You don't necessarily be productive, but just that harmonious state where you've relaxed the brain and it's all like, oh, okay, we've got this. So it's a fabulous tool if you've got PTSD, ADHD, autism, or just super stressed and you just need a tool in your toolkit to come back to center. Absolutely fabulous. So, as I always say, I love it. I'm Claire Chancellor from Be Your Purpose Coaching and Training. Hopefully, I see you in the next classroom and I will talk to you later. Bye, guys.